Hello boys and girls, a very good morning and welcome to this live session on winning techniques for your upcoming IBPS Clerks and the RBI Assistance exam. I hope all of you are healthy and your preparation for these highly competitive exams is in high gear. Remember that the RBI Assistance exam is tentatively scheduled for the 27th of November. So we have about 3 weeks left, right? Today is 6th November, so just about 3 weeks to go for the D-Day. And that will be immediately followed by your IBPS Clerks preliminary examination, right? Now, while the type of questions asked in both the exams are not very difficult, right? Moderate, easy to moderate, I would say. What makes it difficult is the competition, right? Lakhs of students will be appearing for these two exams. So you got to ensure that you spend each second of your time during that examination wisely and beat the competition to get ahead and get qualified for the next round, which would be the main examination. Now, what are we going to do today is discuss yet another winning technique on the topic of average, right? I'm sure all of you have been participating in these winning techniques discussion that we are having every day at 11 a.m. and I'm sure this would definitely be useful for you if you apply it at the right time and at the right place, right? So today again we'll be discussing a very simple but a powerful technique which upon application at the right time can help you save your precious time. Okay, so today's discussion, like I've already mentioned, is going to be on average. Now, what is average? If I ask you what is average, I'm sure the most common response would be sum of all the values by the number of values, or sum of all the terms by the total number of terms, right? Or the middle value, or things like that. But if you have enrolled for a TalentSprint program and if you have gone through our videos, our definition of average is slightly different, right? I'm not saying that sum of all the values by the number of values is a wrong definition, right? That's the formula, correct. But then to make it simple, we consider average as an equal distribution. Average in simple words is an equal distribution. Like for example, you say that average weight of 25 students in a class is 14 kgs. Average weight of 25 students in a class is 14 kgs. Now, what does it mean? If I collect the weight of each of the 25 students, right? Like one student's weight is 10 kg, the other student's weight is like 40 kgs, then there's one student whose weight is 25 kgs and so on. So if I collect the weight of each of these 25, collection as in see, on paper, you cannot collect weight from a person, but virtually if you collect the weight of all the 25 persons, you'll get a sum total. And if this divided equally among all the 25 students, each student would get 14 kgs in his kitty, right? So while my actual weight may be 10 kgs, but after the average is done, I may have 14 kgs. My actual weight may be 40 kgs, but after the average is done, I may be left with only 14 kgs, right? 26 kgs is gone in the group, right? Because the group has to be having the value equally distributed, right? This total has to be equally distributed. So that's the simple understanding. Average is an equal distribution. Now, if you are thorough with this idea of equal distribution, if you know how addition of a value or how removal of a value can affect the average using the concept of equal distribution, you can solve many questions from this topic very easily. So that's what we are going to discuss today. So let me quickly take a simple 4 or 5 values to explain you how addition or removal of a value from a group affects the average. And this is a very popular question type. They might not be asking such questions these days, but the concept is important, where they say that there are 29 students in a class. The average age of the class, including the teacher, is some 23 years. But when the teacher is removed from the group, the average age of the class increases by 2 years. So what is the age of the teacher? These kind of problems. Easy to solve. I'm sure all of you can solve it yourself. But if you go by equal distribution, it becomes a lot easier and you'll be able to save your time. So what I'm going to do now is explain you this concept of equal distribution first. How does it affect the average when a value is added or subtracted? And then take up a few questions. So here we go. Now, average is the discussion for the day, right? I will not even call it average. Let's call it equal distribution, right? Equal distribution. Now let us assume there are four persons, A, B, C and D. There are 4 persons, right? Each of them have got some amount, right? A has got, let's say, 20 rupees, right? A has got 20 rupees. B has got 25 rupees. C has got 65 rupees. And D has got, let's say, 10 rupees. right? These are the amounts with each one of them. A has got 20, B has got 25, C has got 65 rupees, and D has got 10 rupees. Now, what is the average of this group? What is the average amount that these people have got? How do we calculate? I have told you, average is what? You collect all from all the persons and then distribute it equally, right? So find out the total of all the values and then try to divide it equally among all the persons in the group. So find out what is the total. 20 plus 25 is 45. 45 and 65 is 110. 110 and 10 is 120. Right, 120. So 120 is the total in the group. Now this 120 has to be distributed equally. 120 has to be distributed equally among how many people? 4 people here, right? 4 persons. So 120 upon 4 gives you what? 30. So I can say that the average of the group here, the average of the group is 30 rupees. Which means what? If I collect 20 from A, 25 from B, 65 from C, and 10 rupees from D, and give it equally to all 4 of them, the average of the group becomes 30 rupees. Each one of them will get 30 rupees. Now, if you observe, actually A has got only 20, but after the average, after the equal distribution, A gets 10 rupees more. B has got only 25, but now B has got 30 as per the average. C, who had 65 rupees, has lost 35 rupees in the group, right? This 35 rupees has been lost in the group, right? Other people have got it. And D had only 10 rupees, but his value now is 30 rupees. He has gained 20 rupees from the group, right? So 30 rupees is the average for the group here. 30 rupees is the average for the group. Now, what is important is what happens if a person joins this group or if one of the persons here leaves the group, right? Remember, for you to join this group, you should have 30 rupees. Let's take that as an understanding. If somebody wants to join the group, he should come with 30 rupees. Will the average change? For example, let's assume a new person joins the group, E. Assume that E has got 30 rupees. E has got 30 rupees. Our understanding is with the first 4 persons, A, B, C, and D, each person has got 30. E also joins the group with the same amount, 30 rupees. Will the average change? No, because average, like you all know, is equal distribution. E has already got the same value which the group has got. So will the average get affected? No. The average would remain 30. In this case also, the average would remain 30 itself, right? The average will not change. But let's say E comes with, instead of 30 rupees, let's say E comes with 40 rupees. Now what happens? E comes with 40 rupees. Find out the average. How do you find out the average of 5 persons? Usually we say that it is sum of all the values by number of values. So do the sum of all the values. What do we have to do? See, we already know that the sum of first 4 values is 120. 120 plus 40, 160. Right? Or let's say if you add it once again, 20 plus 25, 45, 45 plus 65, 110, 110 plus 10, 120, 120 plus 40, 160. Now this 160 should be divided among 5 people, right? 160 upon 5. What is 160 by 5? 160 by 5 will be equal to 32. So the average of the group becomes 32. If E has got 40 rupees, average of the group becomes 32. Now, do we really have to do this calculation is the question. No, this is a waste of time. Whatever we have done here, 160 by 5 is a waste of time. If you understand the concept of equal distribution, you can do this very quickly and very easily. How is that possible? Understand. First and foremost, you need to understand that the group had 30 rupees. The group's value was 30. Average was 30. Equal distribution was 30. E came with more or less. E came with more. See, when E came exactly with 30 rupees, it did not change the group's average. When E came exactly with 30 rupees, it was equal to the group's average. So the average did not change. But if E comes with more than 30, E has got something additional for the group. Yes or no? E was supposed to come with 30 rupees, but E has come with 40 rupees. He has got something extra. That extra should be divided equally among the 5 persons, which means the group is going to get something more than 30 now. The group will get some profit, right? Group is going to get something more than 30, right? Now, how do you decide the new average? Instead of doing all this calculation, simple understanding is if E had 30 rupees, average would not have changed, right? But E had 40. I'll break this 40 as 30 plus 10. 30 plus 10. So 30 is gone in the average of the group, 10 rupees extra. This 10 extra rupees have to be divided among 5 people. What is 10 by 5? 30. 10 by 5, 2. Yes or no? What is 10 by 5? 2. That's it. The group already had 30 rupees. Now, because of E's extra amount, each person gets 2 rupees now. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 blue. Okay. Understand? Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 and plus 2. So 30 becomes 32. So now the new average is 30 rupees. A very simple concept. I'm sure many of you would be like, okay, we already know this. But the question is, how many of you use it in the exam? That's the point. How many of you are able to apply this in the exam is the important point, right? So 10 rupees extra divided among 5 people will make it 32, right? Let's say if E comes with something less. Instead of 40, let's say E comes with 20 rupees. Then what happens? See, again, the average of the group is 30. E has come with 20 rupees only. E was supposed to come with 30. If E had got 30 rupees, average would not have changed. But E has come with something less. How much less? Minus 10 less. Now don't do the whole calculation again. 120 plus 20, 140, 140 by 5, 28. All that is not required. Simple understanding is E had got how much extra? Minus 10 extra. E has got minus 10 extra. And this loss of 10 rupees should be borne by all the 5 people in the group. Yes or no? Average is always for the group, right? So while E has got 10 rupees less, he's short of 10 rupees. That shortage of 10 rupees should be borne by all the 5 people. So minus 10 divided by 5 is what? Minus 2. That means each person will get minus 2 rupees. Each person will get minus 2 rupees. So 30 will become what? 28. We will take 2 rupees from A. We will take 2 rupees from B, 2 rupees from C, 2 rupees from D. And give those 8 rupees to E. So 20 plus 8, 28. And everybody else will have some other value. But overall average comes out to be 28. So in this case, the average becomes 28. Right? How do you break it? 20 is not 20. 20 is 30 and then minus 10. So this 30 is okay. It's gone for the group. But minus 10 rupees, right? This is the extra amount now. Negative amount, less amount. Should be divided equally among the 5 people. So this is how the whole concept will help you solve the questions faster, right? Very easy concept. Let's take up a few questions and see if we can solve this, if you can apply this for solving questions in the exam, right? So here's the first one. Try this. A very simple question. Try this. The average temperature of first 3 days is 27 degrees and of the next 3 days is 29 degrees. If the average of the whole week is 28.5, what is the temperature of the last day? Average temperature of first 3 days is 27 degrees. For the next 3 days is 29 degrees. If the average temperature of the whole week, remember the whole week would have how many days? 7 days. So average temperature of 7 days is 28.5 degrees. What is the temperature of the last day? I'll tell you what usually people do here, right? Let me solve it in a regular way. For the first 3 days, the average is 27. For the first 3 days, the average is 27. So sum of first 3 days. Sum of the first 3 days. I mean, you will not be writing all the steps in the exam, but sum of first 3 days will be 3 into 27. Then sum of next 3 days, right? Sum of the next 3 days. What will be the sum of the next 3 days? 3 into C. For the next 3 days, the average was 29. 3 into 29. We have to find out the last day's temperature. Last day, let us assume it is T. Now the point is, average of the whole week is 28.5. So what is the sum of the whole week? Sum of the whole week. Sum of the whole week will be 7 into 28.5. Now what people usually do to solve the question is this next equation, right? They say that 3 into 27 plus 3 into 29 plus T equals to 7 into 28.5. Solve for this now. 3 into 27 is 81 plus 3 into 29 is 87 plus T equals to 7 into 28.5. 7 into 20, 140. 7 into 8, 56. So 140 plus 56 is 196 and 7 into 0.5 is 3.5. So 196 and 3.5 is 199.5. You getting it? Or 7 into 30 is 210. 7 into 1.5 is 10.5. 210 minus 10.5 is 199.5. Basically, do the calculation there to get the answer. Now, what is T? T will be equal to 199.5 minus 81 minus 87. 81 and 87 is 168, right? 168. So 199.5 minus 168. So basically 99.5 minus 68, which comes out to be 31.5. So we can say that the average temperature of the last week, is going to be 31.5. Average temperature of the last day, 31.5, which is option 1. This is a regular way of solving it. I'm sure you will not be writing these steps on the exam, on paper. You know, this is just for your understanding. But yes, definitely we write this equation to solve. Is this the right method? Yes, right method. Did we get the right answer? Yes, we have got the right answer. Option 1, 31.5. But is there a better way of getting the answer? Definitely yes. So what's the better way of solving the question? Instead of doing all this equation, doing all these calculations, is there a better way of solving the question? Yes. Let me explain you that method in a different color, right? So how do you solve it using the concept of equal distribution? Look at that, equal distribution. See, simple point. There are 7 days, right? I mean, only for the sake of understanding, I'm writing it here. You did not do any paperwork. The average temperature of first 3 days is 27. So can you say first day's temperature was 27, second day's temperature was 27, third day's temperature was also 27? Assume. It need not be 27 each day, but equal distribution, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was 27 degrees. Next 3 days, it was 29 degrees. So Thursday was 29, Friday was 29, Saturday was also 29. What is the temperature on Sunday? T. What was this temperature? So that the average of the group becomes 28.5. The average of the group becomes 28.5. Now, how do you solve it in a smart way? You will not be writing this step, by the way, right? I'm just trying to explain it to you. Now, according to equal distribution, first 3 days it is 27 each. According to equal distribution again, next 3 days it is 29 each. According to equal distribution, the average of the whole week is 28.5, which means actually each day it should be 28.5 degrees. If I go by average, Monday's temperature should be 28.5, Tuesday should be 28.5, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day it should be 28.5 degrees. But what happened? Monday was only 27. So how much did we save here? See, convert this temperature to rupees. Convert temperature to rupees, right? Convert temperature to rupees. Your understanding will become easier. Each person was supposed to have 28.5 rupees. Each person should be given 28.5 rupees. I should give Monday 28.5 rupees, Tuesday 28.5 rupees, and so on. But Monday took only 27 rupees. So how much did I save? I saved 1.5 rupees. But I saved 1.5 rupees for 3 days. So how much is my saving? 4.5 rupees. So I have saved 4.5 rupees here in the first 3 days. But look at what did the other 3 persons do? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was supposed to give them 28.5, but these people took extra. How much extra? 0.5 extra. Thursday took 0.5 rupees extra. Friday and Saturday also took 0.5 rupees extra each. So how much extra I have given? 1.5 rupees. That means my loss is how much? 1.5 rupees. So overall, when I'm trying to distribute equally, I saved 4.5 rupees for these 3 persons, but I lost 1.5 rupees in the next 3 persons. So how much is my overall saving? My saving is 3 rupees. Now, does it mean, see, plus 4.5 minus 1.5, saving is 3 rupees. But does it mean that I can keep 3 rupees in my pocket? No. It belongs to the group. It should be given in the group itself. I can never take anything with me or never give anything from my pocket. So this 3 rupees extra should be balanced. Now, can you give it to the first 6 persons? No. It should only go to the last person because he's the only one who's left out. Whether there is a profit or loss, the last person should bear it now. Whether there is a profit or loss, the last person has to bear it. How much is T supposed to be? T is supposed to be 28.5. As far as the average is concerned here, T is supposed to be 28.5. But this 3 rupees that I have saved in the first 6 persons, that will also go to T. So 28.5 as per average and plus 3 rupees from the group. 28.5 plus 3, 31.5 will be your answer. 28.5 plus 3, 31.5 would be the answer. Explanation has taken a little bit of time, but when you do it yourself, guys, this will give you the answer really faster, really very quick when compared to the regular method. And then more importantly, like I said, the concept is important. I mean, you may not be getting such type of questions in the exam these days, but this concept can be applied wherever possible, and you can save your time. So what would I do in the exam? Nothing to be put on paper. 1.5 into 3, 4.5. 0.5 into 3 minus 0.5 into 3 minus 1.5. 4.5 minus 1.5, 3. 28.5 plus 3, 31.5. That's it. It takes about 8 to 10 seconds to mark the answer to this question. 31.5 would be the final answer. So this is how you solve questions on average using this concept of equal distribution. You get it? Just try to understand that if 28.5 is supposed to be the average, each person should have 28.5 rupees. If somebody has taken less, you've saved something there. If somebody has taken more, you have lost something there. Try to balance it. Whatever is remaining finally, plus or minus, should be given to the remaining persons, to the last person or to the remaining persons. Work on this concept and you'll be able to solve the questions really. Let us take a couple of more examples. I'm sure this will become very easy for you. So next question on your screens now. I'm going to take one more question, simple question, just for the sake of, just to ensure that you understand this thoroughly, right? So let me take up one more question. Here we go. Look at what it says. This time we are not going to solve it using the regular method, right? We'll do it in a smart way using equal distribution. It says a cricketer scored 180 runs in the first test, 258 runs in the second. How many runs should he score in the third test so that his average score in the 3 tests would be 230 runs? Now usually what people do, 230 into 3, average is 230 for 3 innings, so total will be 230 into 3 minus 180 minus 258. We'll give you the answer, and actually a simple method. But can we do it in a better way? Or can we do it differently? Yes. See, he says average in 3 should be 230. In the first I have scored 180. In the second I have scored 258. How much should I score in the third one so that my average is 230? Average 230. How much was first person supposed to take? 230 rupees. He took only 180. How much did I save? 50 rupees. I was supposed to give 230. This fellow took how much? 258. How much extra? 28 extra. So I have lost 28 rupees. You're able to follow? The first person was supposed to take 230. He has taken only 180 rupees. How much did I save? 50 rupees have been saved here. Yes or no? 230, only 180 was given, 50 rupees saved. But this person took more. How much more? 28 rupees more. What is the balance that I have? 50 minus 28, 22. Yes or no? 50 minus 20, 22, plus 22. Now this plus 22 should go to whom? To the third person. Third person is supposed to have 230 plus 22. The third person is supposed to have 230. Yes or no? Try and understand it yourself. Try and understand it yourself. I mean, I've solved the question already, but just do it yourself now. The third person is supposed to have 230 rupees, but there is some 22 extra with the group. That 22 he should take up. So 230 plus 22, 252 will be our answer. Option 5. See, the advantage of this method is we are not dealing with bigger values like 213, 23 or 180 or 258. We are dealing with small numbers, 50, 28, 22. Smaller numbers are easy to add and subtract, right? That's the advantage. I hope all of you have understood, right? If you take average always and just take the differences, plus or minus, and then play with those smaller values, your job becomes easier. 252 will be the answer. Should not take more than 5 seconds for you to crack this in the exam, right? Mental calculation, no need to put a pen on paper, and you know what the answer is. Let's take one more question, right? Let me take an interesting one. I mean, I've told you about these questions, right? Where there's a class of some students, teacher joins the group or teacher leaves the group. How do you deal with those questions? Here's the one. Look at this. The average weight of 11 students is 30 kg. If the average weight increases by 0.5 kg when Suresh, one of the students, leaves the group, what is Suresh's weight? Now solve this yourself first. I want all of you to try it yourself, and then I'll explain you using equal distribution. Then I'll explain you the same thing using equal distribution. Here he says the average weight of 11 students is 30 kgs. Now one of the students, Suresh, has left the group. He leaves the group. But when he leaves the group, the average increases by 0.5 kg. The average increases by 0.5 kg. So what is Suresh's weight? What is Suresh's weight? $24.5, 25, 22, right? Answers have started coming in. 24.5, 25. I think the confusion is between these two options, 24.5 or 25. Let's try this. See what happens. The average weight of 11 students is 30 kgs. If the average weight increases by 0.5 kg when Suresh, one of the students, leaves the group, what is Suresh's weight? Let me solve it using regular method first, right? I mean, that also is important. You got to know how to solve it conventionally. So average weight of 11 students is 30. So total weight of 11 students, what will be the total weight of 11 students? See, total is equal to average into the number of students, average into the number of values. So 30 into 11, 330. Now Suresh has left the group. Now what happens? Suresh leaves the group. Suresh leaves the group. That means only 10 persons are there in the group now. So what is the total of these 10 persons? See, when Suresh leaves the group, the average increases by 0.5 kg. So what was 30 has now become 30.5. So when Suresh leaves the group, there are only 10 persons. What is the average? 30 plus 0.5. 30 plus 0.5. And for how many people? For 10 people only. Remember, there are only 10 persons in the group now. Suresh has left. So what is the total now? 30 plus 0.5, 30.5 into 10, 305. So including Suresh, the total of the group was 330. Excluding Suresh, the total of the group is 305. That means Suresh's weight should be what? The difference of these two. Yes or no? When Suresh was there in the group, total value was 330. When Suresh left, the total value of the group came down to 305. That means Suresh's weight will be 330 minus 305, which is what? 25. So I can say his weight is 25 kgs. 25 kgs, option 2 is the answer. Option 2 is the answer. Simple calculation. 30 into 11, 30.5 into 10, and the difference will lead you to the correct answer. But how do you do it using equal distribution? Understand this. Important to know this concept. Whether you use it or not is up to you, but very, very useful in my view, right? Average weight of 11 students is 30 kg, which means I've got 11 values. Each value is equal to 30. Each value is equal to 30. 11 times, right? Now, don't argue that each person's weight need not be 30 kgs. Yes, each person's weight need not be 30 kgs. First person's weight may be 28, second person's weight may be 32, third person's weight may be 25, fourth person's weight may be 45, and fifth person's weight may be 10 kgs. All that is fine. But when I divide it equally, each person is supposed to get 30 rupees. 30 rupees or 30 kgs. Now, Suresh left the group. Remember, when Suresh was leaving the group, he was supposed to leave with how much? 30 rupees. Because according to average, Suresh had 30 rupees. So Suresh is supposed to leave with 30 rupees. So Suresh is supposed to go out with 30 rupees. But what happened? What happened? While leaving, once Suresh left, the average weight increases by 0.5 kg. That means now I have 0.5, 30.5 as the value. Average is how much? 30.5. How many times? 10 times. 30.5 is how many times? 10 times. So what happens? The value which was 30 has now become 30.5. It has become 30.5. Which means, see, there has been some increment in the group, right? The value has increased. It means Suresh lost something. How much did he lose? See, while leaving, he gave 0.5 rupees to each of the 10 persons. Suresh is 11th person. While leaving, he gave 0.5 rupees to each of the first 10 persons. You take 0.5, you take 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 and so on. How many times? 10 times. So this 0.5 into 10 is his loss, right? From his 30 only he gave this. He had 30. As per average, he had 30. But he gave 0.5 kgs while leaving. He gives 0.5 kg while leaving. 0.5 kgs to how many people? 10 people, not 11 people. Remember, some of you have taken 0.5 into 11. That is why you got it wrong. He will not give 0.5 to himself, right? He gave 0.5 only to the rest of the group. After Suresh left, the average increased by 0.5 kgs. So you cannot take 0.5 into 11. You should take 0.5 into 10. He gave 0.5 10 times, which means 5 kgs. So he lost 5 kgs from his 30. 30 minus 5, 25 will be your answer. Now, will you be drawing this in the exam? No, please. This is only for explanation. What you do in the exam is this. Suresh was supposed to go out with 30. He gave 0.5 to the group of 10 people. So 0.5 into 10 is 5. 30 minus 5, 25 will be the answer. Option 2. Right? 25 kgs would be the answer. I am cautiously taking simpler examples here because something new is being discussed, at least for some of you, right? I mean, others who have been following this method or others who have watched our TalentSprint online videos, which are available in our program, would know about this concept, right? We'll know about this concept fairly well. But the reason I'm taking simpler questions is so that you get the concept, fully. And once you know it thoroughly, you can then apply it even for, more complex ones. Right? Even in very complex questions related to averages or ages, you can use this equal distribution idea to get the answer very quickly. And like I said, the advantage is we are playing with smaller numbers. We're not playing with big numbers. Small values, just play with those values and arrive at the answer. So what I think is, before I leave, I should take one complex one. Not really complex again, but you will see the difference, how much of time can be saved if you use equal distribution. So let me present one more question to you, one last question to you. I want you all to try it yourself. Don't get disappointed if you do not get the right answer. You may not get the right answer in the first attempt here because you have just learnt it, right? So don't get disappointed and don't jump to a conclusion that this technique does not work for me. It works for everyone. It works for me. If it works for me, then it definitely works for you as well. The only difference is practice. I have gone through a lot of practice, so it has become a lot easier for me. You practice and it will become easy for you also. So one last question before we call it off from the session today. Here we go. Look at this. He says in a certain school, there are 60 boys of age 12 each, 40 boys of age 13 each, 50 boys of age 14 each, and 50 boys of age 15 each. What is the average age of all the boys of the school? Simple question, not complex. If you go by conventional method, you can do that calculation in about 15 seconds, right? 60 boys, average is 12, 40 boys, average is 13, 50 boys, average is 14, 50 boys, average is 15. He's asking us to find out the average of all the boys in the school. Do that. What the answer? Options have also been given: 13.5, 133.1, 13.45, 14. $139.5 is what somebody has marked. All right, let's take this up now. How do you solve it? See, the question says in a certain school there are 60 boys of age 12 each. There are 40 boys of age 13 each, 50 boys of age 14 each, and 50 boys of age 15 each. What is the average age of all the boys of the school? So basically there are 4 groups. 60 boys is one group, 40 boys is another group. There's a third group of 50 boys, and then one more group of 50 boys. You have to find out the average of all the groups. Now, average, like you all know, sum of all the values by number of values. Now, what is the sum of first group? 60 into 12. What is the sum of second group? 40 of 13 each, right? 40 boys of 13 each. Average is 13. Yeah? Or not, the average is 13 basically. He's saying 40 boys are there. Each boy's age is 13 years. So, what is the total age of these 40 boys? 40 into 13. Then there are 50 boys. Each of these boys' age is 14 years. So 50 into 40. And there's another group of 50 boys where each boy's age is 15 years. This is the total age of all the boys in the school. Now this divided by the number of boys. What is the number of boys? 60 boys in the first group, 40 boys in the second group, 50 boys in the third group, and then there are 50 boys in the fourth group. Simplify this and you'll get the required answer, right? Solve this. 16 to 12 should be 720. 14 to 13 should be 520, right? Then 15 to 14 is 700, and 15 to 15 is 750. What's the sum here? 60 plus 40, 100, 150, 200. This is 200. Now simplify this. 720 plus 520 is 1240. 1240 plus 700 is, so 720 plus 520 is 1240. 1240 plus 700 is 1940. 1940 plus 750, 1990, and then this is 700, right? So 2690. 2690 divided by 200, right? 2690 divided by 200. How much is that? That's like 269 by 20 or 26.9 by 2, which comes out to be 13.45. So 13.45, option 3 has to be the answer. Correct? Option 3 has to be the answer. 13.45. But if you want to avoid this calculation in the exam, if you don't want to do all this in the exam, then how do you solve it? Just go by equal distribution. Just go by the concept of equal distribution. See, it's simple. Assume that, see, we know that there are total 200 boys. 60 plus 40, 100, 100 plus 50, 150, 150 plus 50. You understand? There are 60 boys of 12 years each. There are 40 boys of 13 years each. There are 50 boys of 14 years each. And there are another 50 boys of how many years each? 15 years each. So if you want to avoid all this complex calculation, let us assume that the average is 12. I'm assuming that the average is 12, which means each of these 200 persons should get 12 rupees, right? Each of these 200 persons should get how much? 12 rupees. 12. But what happened? See, the first 60 persons took 12 rupees only. You're able to follow? I'm assuming the average is 12. So if you count how much extra we have, the whole idea is to count how much extra we have. 60 boys with 12 rupees, 40 boys with 13 rupees. So how much extra I get out of this? See, 40 boys, if they had 12 rupees, no problem. But 40 boys have 13 rupees, which means each of these 40 boys have got how much extra? 1 rupee extra. How much is that total? 40 into 1, which is equal to 40 rupees. Now, look at this. 50 boys with 14 rupees each. Each boy has got 2 rupees extra. So 50 into 2, 100 rupees extra. And then in the last group, 50 boys with 15 rupees each. Each boy is supposed to have 12 rupees. According to our assumed average, but each boy here has got 15 rupees, which means 3 rupees extra. So 50 into 3. How much is that? 150. So the total extra that this group has is how much? 40 plus 100, 140 plus 150, 290. You're understanding the concept? I am assuming that the average is supposed to be 12 rupees. Let's assume that each boy's weight should be 12 rupees or age should be 12 rupee years or whatever. I mean, the value is 12, magnitude is 12, right? Each person should have 12 rupees. Now, first 60 boys, no problem. They've got 12 rupees each. But the next 40 boys have got 13 rupees. So I have 40 rupees extra in this group. I have 100 rupees extra in this group because these 50 boys have got 2 rupees extra each. Here I've got 150 rupees. So total extra amount that I've got is 290. But this 290, I cannot keep it, right? It should be distributed. Distributed where? In the group itself. So this 290 should be divided. Now remember, divided not just in these 50 plus 40, 140 persons. It should be divided in the whole group of 200 persons. Just because it belongs to these 140 people does not mean that you will divide there. You should divide for the whole group because average is for the entire group. So 290 should be divided among 200 people. 290 by 200 is 1.45. 29 by 2, 14, 29 by 20, 1.45. 12 plus 1.45, 13.45. Same answer, similar calculation, but simpler numbers. Now you may ask me a question, how did you assume that the average is 12? How do you know that the average is 12? I assumed it. This was an assumption. Let us assume average is 13. In that case, what happens? If I assume the average is 13, then what happens? Simple calculation. Here, 60 persons have got 12 rupees each. Minus 1 into 60 minus 60. Plus, this is okay. 40 boys have got 13. Okay, no problem. Right? That is balance. Here, 50 boys have got 1 rupee extra. 13 is supposed to be the average, right? They've got 14 each. So 1 rupee into 50 plus 50. And here, 50 boys have got 2 rupees extra. So 50 into 2, 100. Divide by 200. Do this calculation. So this is like 90 by 200. 90 by 200 is 0.45. See, 100 plus 50, 150. 150 minus 60 is 90. 90 upon 200. 90 divided by 200 is 0.45. 13 plus 0.45, 13.45. So the point that I'm trying to make is, it is not a rule that you should always start with 12 or with the first value. You can take any value. I can take 14 also. I can take 15 also. Accordingly, try to find out how much extra or less the group has and divide that for the entire group to get the overall answer, to get the final answer. Like I said, this was a little trickier when compared to the previous questions that we have solved. There we were dealing with only one person. Here there are 4 different groups. But then, simple, equal distribution. It's all about equal distribution, right? Collect it, distribute equally, and you'll get the answer, right? Whatever extra you have, you just check, distribute equally. Whatever less you have, check that and distribute equally. Plus or minus does not matter, right? If it is plus, give it to all the people. If it is minus, take it equally from all the people, right? Because it is like, you know, it is like a socialist economy, right? Everybody should have equal rights. It's like that. I have 100 rupees. How can you say my average is 30 and take 70 from me? I'll take it, as simple as that. I'll take 70 from you, give it for the rest of the group. Right? So that's how this concept of equal distribution can help you, solve questions faster. You need a little bit of practice. Initially it may look a little tricky or difficult to some of you maybe, but then with practice it becomes really very easy. Right? Very, very easy. So I just hope that you guys spend some time solving a few more questions using this concept of equal distribution. You may not be able to solve every question there, but yeah, most of the questions can be answered using this technique. Okay, so practice and practice a little more, because the more you practice, the easier it gets, right? So keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. I'll meet you all in the next session, which is tomorrow at 11 a.m. with yet another winning technique on some concept from quantitative aptitude or reasoning. And if you want to get yourself notified about these live sessions and videos that we upload, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And yes, share this video with your friends so that they also learn this wonderful technique and get advantage of it. Okay, so see you all at 11 tomorrow. Until then, keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. Bye.